And yo, we're back. The Sports Back Bros podcast is showing up on a Thursday. The last time you saw us, it was Monday. There was basketball ahead of us. But before we left, we said there would be some things that might have stepped to the forefront in between that little bit of time. And as Nostradamus would say, it happened. It happened the way that it was planned.
Step in Ryan Garcia B sample.
Ryan Garcia's B sample is in, and it's just as dirty as the A sample, and the B sample, and the C sample. All the samples, they're all dirty. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. It's all tainted. It's legitimately false advertising by Ryan Garcia in terms of the spirituality, in terms of the so-called hard work. This whole charade he put on, this is what the culmination is. He lied about everything. He's a freaking head case. Something's wrong with this kid.
And the crazy thing is, he don't give a damn. I have to confirm this myself, but I saw screenshots of tweets supposedly from him saying, "Yeah, I love steroids. Steroid this given to me all day." I'm like he's not saying I'm sorry, or he's not taking responsibility, which maybe it's too early for him to do that. But him saying this is bogus, yeah, give me all the steroids. Like, I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking, but like I said, he don't give a damn if that's his reaction.
Yeah, in the boxing world, you'll have fans of his that will just spin this, and that's what they do. In the boxing world, not just him, but people who are fans of a particular fighter that something unfavorable happens with, they always have some reason why that happened, or trying to soften the blow of the truth, regardless of how bad it is. In this case with Ryan, I mean, there is nowhere to hide with it, but you'll have people saying, well, there was enough money for someone to change the result, because I was hearing those kinds of things before this sample came out. Well, it had something to do with Eddie Hearn. He has the money, the influence to change the way the ruling should have been, and all this nonsense that doesn't make any damn sense. And now he goes out there and says it himself. He's probably trying to make it seem as if I go out there and kind of say it myself and play around with it, that when it comes back positive, people won't take it completely serious. At least my fans will still fight for it, because it was like, why would he agree with that? He wouldn't say something like that, but he did say something like that. And this is the result of it. And he doesn't care, as you said, in the beating he put on Devin Haney, even if it was negative, Devin Haney still sustained that beating. It's yet to be seen, because he's still young, how much damage he had taken in that fight, moving on to further fights, and what he may have lost from that fight.
Yeah, it's pretty sad when you consider he came in 3 pounds over the weight limit, more than 3 pounds actually. Well, it might not have been. Again, he had a bottle, he was wearing pants. Mm-hmm. That all adds up. Maybe it's 2.5 pounds, but he didn't try to make weight. And then you add in steroids on top of it. I mean, it's damn near criminal. It's damn near criminal.
Deliberate. That's premeditated. I mean, we don't want to get into the law, but premeditated is what he had done. He had done it in advance, knowing there could have been whatever result it was. Him coming out victorious, probably whether he believed it or not, that's ended up happening, being the case. And he caused that beating along the way. And that Osterine is what it's called. Well, if you look at what it is, it's like most steroids. It was banned in 2008, and then in 2022, it was considered anabolic by WADA, WADA. And he's using it for muscle recovery, quick recovery, and stamina. And in boxing, stamina, muscle recovery, yeah, but stamina in particular is what you need in boxing. Those red blood cells carry more oxygen. The same thing as the regular dopers, going back to even Lance Armstrong, doping and putting more oxygen in the blood in order to be more efficient and have more stamina, everything that comes with it.
Yeah, so he has to have a hefty fine coming. Obviously, a suspension. I know you want a couple years. I don't going to make a. He's talked about going into acting. He's made a lot of money. I don't know how big the fine is going to be, but I'm sure it's not going to be $100 million. He's going to be fined after he pays the fine. Yeah. So maybe he doesn't need boxing. He's already saying F boxing. So maybe again he goes another direction, where after his suspension is up, maybe he doesn't even come back to boxing.
A few years ago, Andre the Boxer, who we have on here on occasion when we have the panel going on, he specifically said this was the plan. Back then, he said it years ago. He says Ryan Garcia doesn't really want to be a boxer. He's more interested in being an influencer. He doesn't want to do the lifetime of a boxer. He wants to get the notoriety because of boxing and get all the fans because of the way he looks. Women gravitate like they did with De La Hoya. And then he wants to just bounce from boxing. He doesn't want to have a full career. He wants to get the paydays as much as he can in that small window of time. He wants to get out. He wants to be something outside of being a boxer. An actor primarily is what he may want to be. And as it's come, I don't know about full circle, but where it seems to be heading, if he's saying screw boxing now, the love really hasn't been there to begin with, if that's the case.
Yeah, it seems that way. Again, I have to see the tweets for myself. There was like nine or more, like right after each other, and of course I couldn't remember more. I just saw them like 10 minutes ago as I was scrolling. But the tone of all of the tweets were he doesn't care. He's not gonna worry about it. He's moving on. And that's why I say, and it seems like Andre was well ahead of everyone.
Yeah,
saying that he's going to be out of boxing, and it seems that way. I mean,
yeah, because I was
if he thought he's going to come into this fight, make another bag, and lose again, he's like, maybe he's thinking, I can't lose. I'll do whatever I can, get the big bag. Who cares? Okay, they make it a no contest, but at least I come out unscathed. I beat his ass, and I move on. But he got the bag.
And that's a sinister way of looking at it. If his mindset worked like that and the way things are playing out, it seems like something close to what you're saying probably went through his mind. I mean, it seems like going straight towards what you're saying, it was in his mind and the way he acted it out. And it's worse because now Devin Haney had taken the beating because of it. And now we're seeing it wasn't fair and square. You know, boxing is as dangerous as it can get to begin with. And now when you add all of these other elements from the outside to give yourself the advantage, an unfair advantage, because Devin Haney isn't juicing that we know of course. And so now he's at the disadvantage. He catches the beating. It's not a natural beating. He's more interested in having his zero taken away and getting this no contest than he's interested in anything else. And I understand it being a young guy, man, but the long-term repercussions, and we still don't know anything, maybe not even the immediate fight, but down the road. Because we also saw the same thing with Meldrick Taylor when he fought Chavez. It wasn't immediate that we had seen the results of what Chavez had done to him in that first fight. So whether the decision was given to, or the fight was given to him or not, you know, if Richard still didn't call it off with 2 seconds left, he probably would have gotten that glory. He would have been in history being the first guy to beat Chavez. But moving on, we saw how it really bothered him like 2-3 fights down the line. He started getting beat down by regular guys.
Well, they made the mistake of putting him in the ring with Terry Norris also. That was a mismatch. That was
terrible. And he wanted that fight because he's just a Philadelphia guy.
Terry wanted that fight too.
Terry wanted it.
That was a big mistake, and that did not help Meldrick's cause. He took another bad beating.
At least it was shorter.
Yeah. What that go 6 or 7? I don't remember exactly, but
I forgot.
It wasn't a sustained beating.
It was shorter than the 12 rounds he had dealt with Chavez, taking that thorough beating.
Yeah. It wasn't a sustained beating. It didn't start out first 4 rounds, but once Terry saw he couldn't hurt him and that he could hurt Meldrick, it was over. He was in his bag, just blasting him like a heavy bag.
And somehow we look at what Devin Haney is going through. He's still worried about the and it went, and he wants to get it back. But Ryan Garcia said initially he didn't want to give him a rematch anyway. And he was saying it to kind of like troll him. He's not getting a rematch, kind of like light work. Let me move on to bigger things because now he's talking nonsense about Benavidez. Apparently he doesn't care about Benavidez. That was just talk anyway. Because, come on, man. He's not trying to fight Benavidez.
Benavidez told him
to do that.
Benavidez told him, take whatever you want. Let's do it.
Oh, bro, with the steroids, you ain't beating Benavidez, man. You can bring steroids and probably your homeboy and still lose the fight.
He's just too big. Just
have a handicap match.
Yeah, he's just too big, just too good.
But what happens with Ryan now? I mean, give him the suspension. How long is the suspension? If it's 2 years, he probably just gives up boxing, has his acting career, whatever it is he thinks he can do afterwards. I don't think modeling, because, I mean, people make money modeling, women a lot more than men. But is that really a career he wants? I think he wants to be in the limelight doing things and becoming some type of a figure where people could worship, being a superhero in a movie or a star in a movie or something.
I don't know. Would you if you were making a movie, would you pick Ryan Garcia to be the lead?
I wouldn't, but you know what? If the women like him like that, man, like they like De La Hoya. How many women actually like De La Hoya for his boxing? They just like that it was a pretty boy that was fighting. They just knew that he was fighting, but he was pretty first to them. Different kind of thing. And it doesn't take much for these women to look at a guy and that be the reason why they head to the box office to support him.
Yeah, and he tried to be a singer, not an actor.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
But
did he hear Manny Pacquiao?
Pacquiao too. We talked about
he could sing at one point.
We've talked about people getting penalized for the lie, not for the actual action.
Yeah.
So normally, most of the time it happens in Nevada, I think, but this is New York. I don't know how New York's going to operate, but normally there's a hearing. The guy comes before the committee. He says he's sorry or says he didn't know, whatever story he gives. I thought I was taking this. I didn't know that they had given me that. And then they give him the suspension. But he's going the opposite. Like, man, you guys are doing this to me. This is rigged. I didn't take anything. So it's probably going to be stiffer than 6 months.
It should be, because 6 months in a boxer's life is not even a whole fight, really. When you get fighted, like when Floyd was fighting once a year.
Well, that's what Canelo got, I believe.
What's going on? Give him 2 years. Take a chunk out of his freaking career. Make it matter. He's young enough to take 2 years out and make him have to struggle to get back to where he was and see what he does with that money that he has gotten, including the ill-gotten money of betting $2 million to win $12 million for that fight.
Yeah, so what happens if they call it a no contest? Then he didn't actually win.
No, he didn't actually. Well, if they put it as a no contest, I know Vegas doesn't give money back, but I don't know what could happen. That was a huge amount of money that he publicized and pretty much let them know this is what I did, and now we know how. And
yeah, they're gonna want their money back.
You know what? I wonder if they could have a lawsuit to do the same thing, get the money back from him. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but it looks like it sounds so damn reasonable for them to do that.
They can send a crew at night.
Ryan Garcia anymore. He'll be hanging out with Jimmy Hoffa, but not in Giant Stadium. What's going on? Or MetLife Stadium now. But yeah, it's just
don't let Joe Pesci let Joe Pesci get the call.
Joe Pesci, right? Man, I tell you what, man, when it comes down to this fight game, it's dangerous as it is anyway. And we look at now the pantheon of juicers, steroid users. That's what they are. Ryan Garcia has been added, along with people who had speculation, not necessarily caught. I think you can kind of go by empirical evidence if that's what you wanted to do. Look at his body then, look at his body now. And then some of the other things, the acne in the back, if you wanted to use that for the fighters who had that happen as a result of using steroids. But then you look at Tyson Fury is in that camp. You look at Canelo in that camp. Roy Jones is in that camp. I mean, James Toney, bro, you got to
Did Oscar Valdez test positive?
Oh, man, Oscar Valdez. You know what? I think he may have.
That's what I'm thinking too. That would be 3 guys from Canelo's camp,
bro.
Or at least
together, man. They said, "Yo, we eat together. We get this beef going on." That's what it is. They eating together, tainted beef. But this is what boxing is, man. Boxing is way too damn dangerous for this to happen as often as it is. And I was speaking to someone a little earlier today, and they was telling me about, well, in the 90s, I think everybody was using steroids. I don't know, because I guess tests were a lot more effective now than they were back then. And I remember when Mike Tyson had the hair missing way back in his so-called prime, and they were speculating steroids from that. But at the same time, there was also speculation of stress. And going by the way his life was before he had lost, stress probably takes the cake. It might not have been steroids after all. But all these other people that have been named, and they take the steroids, they get their fine, or they get their ridicule, they move on and continue to fight. Canelo continues to fight.
Yeah, we probably should have tried to have Coach Danny on, because he told me earlier he's been around a lot of athletes and he's seen a lot of shenanigans go on. Let's say that, shenanigans.
Yeah. Oh, bro.
So
if you've been around,
everybody's looking for an edge. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, Garcia doubled up. He took steroids or banned substance. If it's not a steroid, you said it's anabolic, whatever.
Anabolic, yeah.
Right. So, and he didn't make weight, so he didn't have to dehydrate himself and then rehydrate himself. He came in feeling good, and then the steroids made him feel even better. So again, that's almost criminal. You said it's meditated. it could. The least that has to happen is a year suspension, a hefty fine,
Yeah.
and and the result changed to a no contest.
Yeah, man. See, I don't think he really cares about the no contest. It seems like it's more important to Devin Haney than it is to Ryan Garcia, though, whether he has a loss or no contest. Devin Haney had run on that being undefeated thing. He wanted to do what Floyd had done. He wanted to be boxing's first billionaire. You can lose and still become a billionaire in boxing if it's meant to be, the way things are going on right now. I mean, lofty goals, but, it's not completely out of the question because Floyd had gotten close to being a billionaire until, well, he didn't become a billionaire. But either way, it's just a completely reckless and dangerous thing to have done, and for him to just brush it off and run away from it because, hey, I don't need boxing anyway. I can become an actor. I can become a star. I can do other things. Man, that's the big middle finger to boxing, if anything, not even the middle finger to boxing, but the people he has put in danger. And going with that steroid he used, it's accelerated body fat loss and it, enhanced the muscle as you would expect. And, it's just, man, and recovery and all that other stuff, man, it's just, man, he knew what he was doing. And the people around him knew it too. This wasn't an accident.
Yeah, usually they do, right? They spend so much time together. They're in close quarters. They're always together during camp. There's no way his camp. There's no way they could not know. Well,
Right.
he's gonna sneak away. I'll be right back, guys. What's he doing, man?
For real, man. Come on, man. I'll be right back. I can take this 10-minute leak. Yeah, out of here.
Let me just say it all over again. Ryan Garcia ain't shit for this.
You know what? And that's official now. And he deserves the double finger, man, for that one. Man, you put a guy's life in danger, and now you look back on what Devin Haney was saying. This guy tried to kill me, using the rhetoric like that. And it's not even just rhetoric anymore. Now we look at the result of what has come in, and you see how deliberate it really was likely. He didn't care what happened in that ring then. He didn't care what happened in that ring to Devin Haney. And he did it. And unfortunately for Devin Haney, man, his heart was too big for him. His father didn't even stop the fight. He kept getting up, showing that he, trying to prove that he's still a warrior. We have no questions about his heart. And if he just decided to take a knee in the next fight, we wouldn't have the questions about his heart because of that, because we already seen this. But, man, if it ruined his career the way I think it probably has, damn. I mean, there's criminal charges. I don't know. Everybody's litigious these days anyway. Criminal charges just to see if it flies, if it sticks.
Well, maybe he's the precedent.
Exactly. He's the one that you could probably.
Somebody's got to be the first one.
Got to be the first one. Pioneer, man. But anyway, it's just bad to even start off with this crap going on. Ryan Garcia, you are a piece of crap. Put it that way, for the sake of the algorithm. So moving on from there, yeah, boxing happened. Boxing news came down, but we know what we're here for. The NBA freaking playoffs is going on. Going into the game, when we left on Monday, we looked at what was going to happen on Wednesday between the Minnesota Timberwolves and Dallas. I'm thinking that, okay, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they took out the big dogs, the defending champs, the Denver Nuggets, even though only two guys really played with Jamal Murray and Jokic doing their thing, were overwhelmed by it, got beaten on the road, came back from 15 down at halftime to do it. And then I'm thinking, man, they're going to be at home. Kind of the same crap I was saying before. Man, but I didn't say that they're being all rockets in front of the crowd. They lose. I thought they're going to blow freaking Dallas out. And you said it again, Nostradamus. Man, they might get caught in the high they have from Denver, man. They might come home and might not be able to do it. Well, they didn't do it. They lost.
Well, I tell you what, Minnesota played well in the first half. McDaniels was splashing threes. They had the lead. I believe they got it up to like 9 or 10, if not even more. But Kyrie was in his bag. I think he had 23 at the half. They couldn't do nothing with him. He was getting to the rim for layups. He was hitting floaters, lefty floaters, righty floaters. He was shooting jumpers. Kyrie was like, I told you, Kyrie. You didn't believe it, but Kyrie, he still got it.
Yeah, he still got it, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't even watch the game, so let me not even front. I didn't even watch the game. Everything's going on, but
he kept him in it when Minnesota was trying to pull away, but he kept him in it, and he got some help. And then the second half, Luka went on a 7-0 run. They took the lead, and it was pretty much over from that point on.
Man,
T-Wolves,
what's the deal with Minnesota though?
They seem out of sync offensively.
Yeah, and it was it. I can't say it was lack of rest because you pretty much played just the other day. You're not tired. You're still young. I know it's still a young, long NBA season, and you still going. Winning the playoff plus the playoffs. Now you're coming from Denver, going home. You think the confines of home would have been helpful? They weren't before. Denver went over there twice. You know what I mean? But now we're back at it again.
So Ant started out on Kyrie, but he didn't stay on Kyrie.
Yeah, because he talked about it in the beginning. I'm gonna be on Kyrie.
Started killing him, and they didn't put him on him. And then in the third quarter, Ant took Kyrie, and I think he held him to 7 in the second half. But he was dog tired. Reggie Miller is like, you can see he's tired. He's tired, and he hit a huge three to keep him within striking distance. But Luka and those guys, they closed them out. Unlike the Pacers.
Yeah, bro, the Pacers. I don't know. By the way, did Vegas get it with the Pacers? If you want to move on to that real quick, they look at the over/under like 224. Man, these are the two highest scoring teams in the NBA, man. What happened to the 231s or the 235s? And they did more than that playing against the Celtics. But I mean, they had a chance to win against the Celtics. I wasn't expecting them to be this close against the Celtics.
Yeah, we can stick with the T-Wolves. I just had to mention
all right.
That the Mavs didn't collapse like the Pacers did.
And that's another thing. The Mavs didn't collapse. But the Mavs, man, yeah, Kyrie still has it, no question about it, man. But, man, what happens with this Minnesota team at home? Still, they're the younger team. They seem to be the more talented team. I mean, if you look at man for man, they're still the more talented team.
Yeah, you're right. But what I mentioned or what we talked about on Monday, they can let Luka get his, they can let Kyrie get his, they can't let the other people get theirs, and they did not stop them. Everybody got them. I think they had 10 or 11 dunks in the game. That's 22 points, and they were getting killed on pick and rolls. That's how they got the dunks, alley-oop dunks, drop offs, or Luka was hitting little 10-foot shot floaters in the lane. They gave up a lot of points in the paint. A lot of points. They got to clean that up.
So what has happened with Ant of late? He's not throwing up the 40 spots. You know what I mean? I thought in a game like this would be the opportune game for him to get his 40 spot at home against a Dallas team that isn't great. They're good. And I don't even think very good. They're just good. They were hot at the wrong time right before the playoffs. And now they're just kind of back in the middle. But they got one and stole one here in Minnesota.
Well, Ant's shot has been off the last couple of games. It could be he's shutting down Murray. He's trying to shut down Kyrie. He's expending a lot of energy on the defensive end, and I'm sure that's affecting his shot on the offensive end with his legs being weary.
Man, but now they're down 1-0. They're at home. They got another game coming up.
But I'll tell you what's frustrating me. He'll call for a screen. He'll drive. He'll get cut off, and then he'll back it out. He'll call for another screen. Dude, go to the basket. Go to the basket. Don't let them cut you off. It's not like someone's in position for a charge. They're just there. Make a move. Go around. And then there's times where he gets to the basket, he jumps, and then he tries to throw it out for a three-point line. Shoot the little floater. Take the layup. What are you doing? And he has some bad turnovers. He's on one side of the court trying to throw it to Conley on the other side of the court. It lands in the 5th row. He's on the right side trying to throw it to McDaniels in the corner. It goes in the 8th row. Who the fuck are you passing the ball to?
Fatigue, man. I guess it's
the first half.
Oh, well, I guess not fatigue. Bad passes. That's all you could call it. But, yeah, I mean, is it a youth thing now? I don't know what the hell to say in these games because as soon as you pick one team and you have a decent reasoning, something completely different happens. Yeah. Going into this game, I'm like, yo, bro, after the way they played Denver, man, the pressure's off now. Yeah. They're pretty much the odds-on favorite, not only to win the West, but win the whole NBA championship. This includes the Celtics, which likely looks like they're going to probably come out. I can't even say that anymore as close as that game was in Boston. I hope that maybe for Boston fans' sake, this is one of those instances of where Boston always has that bad game, and this was their bad game, and they still happen to win.
Maybe. But before we get to Boston and Indiana, my biggest takeaway from game one for T-Wolves and Mavs was if the game is close, T-Wolves are going to be in trouble because they have two guys who can go and get their shot, Luka and Kyrie. And you think the T-Wolves have Ant and maybe Cat, but Cat's not going to come off a screen, take somebody off the dribble, and Ant hasn't been doing it.
Nope.
So just looking at game one, the Mavs have two closers, and I don't know who the T-Wolves closer is.
Well, as Ant goes, it seems like that's where the Team will follow. I mean, even if
T-Wolves they gotta be up like 8 with 3 minutes left. If it's closer than that, they might be in trouble.
Man, shooting the way things are looking, yeah.
Eight may not even be enough with 3 minutes left. Maybe 8 with a minute 30.
Man, I mean, I really don't, man. I haven't been right with this thing. It's for, you get some games here and there, but in terms of the makeup of the game, going into a game, you think this is the reason why, and it seems so clear. And then you get this type of thing when these guys playing good defense, but still losing the game at home. And I thought it should have been a blowout, but apparently, obviously it wasn't. Dallas has the momentum as they should, but another must-win game in Minnesota when they play again, we already know that. It is a must-win game, but at the same time, we say it's a must-win game. They end up losing that game. They've already shown they could go back on the road and win 2 games themselves. They've done it to them.
Yeah, they can definitely rebound, but it's going to take a concerted effort because, like I said, they have to figure out things on defense. They couldn't defend the pick and roll.
Well, yeah, they got to get it put together. I mean, they have the guys to do it. I'm not even going to mention fatigue because both teams should be fatigued. This is the freaking playoffs, and this is deep in the playoffs now, just a series away from going to the NBA Finals. Minnesota being the younger team, should be fresher team, this is when that experience comes in handy. But the only one with experience is freaking Kyrie in terms of these game-changing players.
That's true.
So
moving on to the Pacers and Celtics. The Pacers got to be kicking themselves. If they lose in 7, then they're gonna be distraught because they gave up game 1. That game was theirs, and they gave it to the Celtics on a platter. Now, of course, you give Jaylen Brown credit for hitting the 3 in the corner, but it shouldn't have come to that. Tyrese Halliburton losing ball out of bounds, unforced error, a foul under the basket, giving them free throws, can't get the ball in. They just collapsed. They just collapsed.
Man, and I wonder, was it a case of the Celtics, and people would probably say something about it, of them having so much rest in between games, and Indiana just coming off the game against the Knicks. They should feel fatigued, but at least they're still in sync. And they showed on the road that they can do that. But at the same time, I've already mentioned, and many people have mentioned, Boston, they're always due for this bad game. And this is the bad game that they've had, and they ended up winning the bad game. And it's at home. And Porzingis is still out. He's probably out for the series, it looks like. This calf is still an issue. But they can win without him. They've already proven that. And
I'm
Indiana,
seeing game 4 for Porzingis.
They what?
Possible game 4 return.
Oh, you know what? If it's game 4, because I'm still thinking this isn't going to 7 anyways. Because with what they have, they still are a pretty damn good team. Because at the end of the day, I mean, unless Indiana just got hot at the right time, Indiana isn't the best team that they've played. You know what I mean? Indiana shouldn't be here to begin with. I mean, hell, if the Knicks were there, they probably didn't deserve to be there. But it's just that Indiana wasn't that team, at least not this year. They just happened to be there. A little bit of kind of the shades of what Miami did last year as an 8th seed. No one ever would have expected them. They just got hot at the right time. Is Indiana getting hot at the right time? If so, they're a little cool off right now, losing game 1 in Boston.
Well, it remains to be seen. It could be Boston comes out and puts them on them in game 2, and then everyone's going to say it's over. But they have to go to Indianapolis.
I'm about to say, I heard that nonsense already.
Yeah, Pacers are a different team in Indy. I can't call it yet, but I just know that Pacers can respond 2 ways, like, damn, man, we blew that game, or like, fuck, we blew that game, man. We got to come out game 2 and take game 2.
Yeah.
2 different mindsets. Which one do they come with?
Now, which is the more defensive team? It probably would be Boston. But, it goes back to with Minnesota. When Minnesota went to Denver, won the first 2 games, we was like, bro, it's going to be lights out. They're getting swept probably in Minnesota. And then Denver goes and wins 3 straight. They were like, bro, lights out for Minnesota. Then Minnesota goes to Denver, beats freaking Denver. Here we freaking are with them playing against their Mavericks. You know, it's just a ridiculous season the way things have been going, man. Nothing etched in stone. I don't know, man. What happens if Indiana ends up winning the freaking NBA championship? Like, what the hell? Wow, this is like a bizarre world.
That would be nuts. But Jason Tatum has to step up, man.
Yeah,
I don't think
he has a business name for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him, but if he wants to be one of those top dogs, he's gonna have to step up his game.
Postseason dog, because in the regular season he delivers. It's just that one of these postseason players who doesn't have the consistency he needs to be up there with the elite.
And shout out to my boy Drew. He dropped 28. Without his 28, they definitely lose.
Yeah, that's true too. And it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say it sucks, but it sucks for Indiana to have had it in the bag and to let it go like they did. Yeah, but at least, you know what, mentally for that young team, it probably lets them know that we can hang with them, because there had to be some doubt. Even though you had the 2 highest scoring teams in the NBA getting together, the more established team is still the Celtics, and not because of their legacy, but because of what they've done and the core of these players we see. This Indiana team, they're new to the dance, and they're dancing with everybody so far. And so maybe that gives them confidence, keeping it as close as they did, blowing it in their mind themselves. Is like more they lost. It wasn't the Celtics winning. Maybe that mentality is what they need for the second game, and see how that works. If they could pull one off in Boston, head back to Indiana, you know, maybe that enthusiasm and the way things go, and Tyrese Halliburton, even though he had some problems towards the end of the game, he's now been a different player starting from that Knicks game up until now.
Well, I was just about to say, I expect Tyrese Halliburton to come out like a man possessed. He had 2 terrible turnovers, one at the end of regulation, one in overtime, and each time they were critical. So he's got to be stewing right now. Like, man, I would think he's stewing, because if you look back at his past performances, bad game against the Knicks, came back, good game, really good game.
Excellent game. Don't freaking team. And nobody missed.
So I'm expecting a big game from Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, I'm expecting the same thing, but will that be enough? Everybody else has to jump on board. The thing about him, though, a great game from him means that he's also getting everybody else involved and making a big problem for the team, for the Celtics.
He likes to pass.
He does that 21 freaking assist deal, man, 20 assist deal. That means everybody's getting some love, and everybody's going to be a problem for the Celtics. That means too many things are going on, and he still can score. So, yeah, that would be definitely – that's the best case scenario for them. And it'll work out for them, especially on the road. They're going to need it. Man, but that's the NBA, man. It's getting smaller and smaller on the NBA conversations, because you're getting fewer and fewer teams involved, heading to the final stretch and getting to the NBA finals.
Right. Well, we can't talk about the Lakers coach search. Supposedly, JJ
Redick, bro.
Why would you take a guy who's never coached before?
That's what I'm saying, for that organization.
Because that's LeBron's homie.
Man, do that in Charlotte, man. Not here. Do it in Charlotte. He could get away with being a coach there. You know, if he played for Duke, let him coach in Charlotte somewhere.
I mean,
that's like setting him up to fail, man.
So if they hire JJ and then they have a bad game, then LeBron and JJ Redick are on the podcast and they're going to be arguing.
Flipping.
I told you not to take me out. I told you we should have called this player. And JJ's like, well, I did call that player. Whatever I called this one, you guys did. I mean, it might make for a good podcast.
Great podcasting, I guess. Yeah, but you know, and I, you know what? When it's almost like the NFL draft, when there's a particular player that kind of all of a sudden starts getting pushed to the forefront, who wasn't necessarily there before. Next thing you know, he's like the big sweetheart of the draft, and you're like, well, why is this guy in the first round? Kind of like the JJ McCarthy effect. How the hell is he a first rounder? Well, hell, apparently he is. But you look at what JJ Redick, now that he's been the name that people have talked about for the past couple of days, they're now making comparisons between he has the intelligence of a Pat Riley. How the hell do you know? How do you know? Come on, man. Pat Riley, of all people you can compare him with, sight unseen as a coach, Pat Riley comes to mind.
I've seen him my first take. That's not my first impression. Now I'm not gonna say he's not intelligent. He's a very smart guy.
I can speak, man. He knows. And I like to he knows basketball. But
right, as far as basketball, Pat Riley type knowledge, I don't know about that,
bro. I can't even say it's not close, because it isn't close. It's not even a thing. He hasn't been a coach yet. Pat Riley's a freaking living legend. We already know that deal. And I mean, why would you even kind of make that? It's like Steve Nash, as great as he was, going to the Nets. Now it's a different dynamic because he had those 3-star players there. But come on, man, that shouldn't have been his first NBA job as a head coach.
Maybe these guys should try coaching in the G League first.
They'll be too big for their team. These kind of guys.
Or, because there's no CBA anymore. That's where Phil Jackson cut his
chop. Go to WNBA like Bill Laimbeer did. Come
on. Speaking of WNBA, what's up with these refs not calling fouls for Caitlin Clark? Now, I'm not saying making up calls or giving her calls. She's getting smacked in the head. She's shooting threes. She gets a hit in the hand. They're not calling fouls. And I don't know. No, they didn't review it, but she's shooting a three late in the game. I think they're down 2 or down 4. She's trying to keep their team in it. And a girl comes, swipes at her shot, hits her in the hand. The ball comes up like 10 to 12 feet short. Now, if you have common sense and you play basketball, if somebody swings at the ball like this, it should go that way, not that way towards the hoop. So if it goes towards the hoop and it's 10 feet short, she got fouled.
Yeah. You know what? Going into this season, the players were talking all of this crap and they weren't even trying to be quiet about it, about what they probably expected to do to her. And it may be a little bit of a cahoots with these so-called refs. I don't think they've been given the order. Maybe these refs are also not liking what's going on with her getting the publicity she's getting. So they're not calling the foul the way they have. But I do like that they're finally letting her play her natural position as a point guard instead of having her in as a shooting guard that they had her from the beginning of the season. Yeah. When they put her in at a point guard in the previous game to this, the team was at least closer. This is a bad team we're dealing with. This Indiana Fever team is horrible. That's why they got the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, she dropped dimes.
Closer.
She drops
the game
dimes
before, and this game was even closer. They were 3 points down in this game.
Yeah, she drops dimes, and the ladies miss layups in the paint, or they get them blocked.
And it's her fault, bro. The haters are going to say she's supposed to be the miracle worker. She's getting the ball. If
the other night, I said the Pacers.
They're not making a damn shot.
The other night, I said the Pacers are small. I meant the Fever are small. They're big girls, and down low, they get their shots blocked all the time.
Man, but I hate the way. I mean, I kind of expected it anyway. I didn't think the refs would be in cahoots. But look at this whole league, and it's almost cutting your nose to spite your face when it comes to her, because she's the reason why everybody's gonna get paid at some point. She's the reason why people are even talking about these endorsement opportunities for other players. It's not Angel Reese, it's not anybody else, it's not Brittany Griner at any other time or any other player who was supposed to have been a star. These endorsements weren't coming in because of them. They're coming in now because she's supposed to be getting overpaid because of endorsements. So people, even out of guilt or political correctness, they're at least going out and trying to solicit other women and give them opportunities with endorsements as well that they probably wouldn't have gotten before. If you look at the stories about the ticket sales and the money that came in, if you look at the overall revenue of games that she's already been part of, more than any time in WNBA history. Maybe this year the NBA might not have to subsidize them. Maybe they can run on their own this time around. It's $1 over. Come on, man.
But back to the refs. Do you think it could be where they're trying to say, we don't want to get accused of giving her calls because she's going to be the face of the league or she's coming in with so much attention, and then they're refereeing her the total opposite, where they're not giving her calls that she rightly should get?
But if it's so blatantly obvious, especially the one you just explained, bro, that's the game. That's the game. That's the foul that's supposed to be called. It's not like in the Super Bowl when probably seconds left and there's a play that's you can either swallow your whistle or make the call, and you decide to swallow your whistle. It's not one of those.
But in fairness, they had the ball down 2. She came around a pick into the corner. They threw her the ball. Maybe she was going to shoot a 3. I don't know. But she missed the ball, and it was a turnover. They had the foul, and then they had a shot at from the other side of the court with 2.6 seconds. But she did have a shot. So when I say, I always say, don't tell me what you did, tell me when you did it.
When you did it.
She had a chance. She had a chance to win that game, or at least put them ahead.
Right.
And she didn't catch the pass for whatever reason. So if you're watching or listening and you're saying, yeah, but they still had a chance about, well, there you go. I am acknowledging she still had a chance. But that does not mean she didn't get whacked in the head and no foul was called. That doesn't mean she got smacked in the hand and no foul was called.
Man, and they're allowing it
both
to happen.
both things are true.
Are they going to go to New York and look at the video and kind of
The
hold these
2-minute
refs
report.
accountable? I mean, this is the marquee play in the league. I know people don't like to hear it, but whether they like it or not, she is the marquee player in the league. And just now her fourth game, so hey, that's just how it played out. She's the golden goose, and she's the reason why everybody else is going to get paid. And all these disgruntled people led by Diana Taurasi, who used to be one of my dogs. Now she's freaking like, come on now, get crazy over this. And they seem like they don't want any change. They like things the way they are, but they still want to complain about some type of pay raise or how they need to be treated equally, which is ridiculous to begin with. Money in, money out. You're just starting to get money in. Money goes out to you when this thing is completed, but that's not the case right now. So yeah, Caitlin Clark continue. I'm glad she's at point guard right now, and moving forward, they're going to obviously get a win.
And then get this. So I didn't know they were playing. I'm not really following Caitlin Clark or the Fever or the WNBA, but I am on social media, and I saw a highlight. She splashed a 3. I'm like, oh, she's playing tonight. So this morning, had some time to kill. I said, let me see what happened. So I'm watching the highlights, and they show her make one basket. I'm like, oh, she didn't score very much. Then I found out she had 21.
Yeah.
Like, out of those 21 points, you couldn't find 3 or 4 more highlights of hers to show.
Don't make it like our politics. They start editing things and trying to skew the narrative.
I only tuned in to see what she did. And you're not giving me highlights? Come on, man.
And she only had 3 freaking turnovers in this game.
When people stop clicking,
man. And now I think she's going to be the star she's meant to be. She's in her natural position now. For this game, she was down on turnovers. She's not up there at the 10 anymore, not up there at the 8 anymore. Well, she did have 8 the other night, but she looks like she's trying to get it under control with her bad team. There are going to be times when she does pass the ball and these women don't catch the ball. And then when she does get them the ball right under the hoop, as you said, they're going to miss the shot. That's just happened. That's the WNBA before she got there.
I think her coach needs to get out on the court, get a technical, get ejected, but start fighting for calls.
Yeah, you know what? Look at the team. And this team has a loser mentality. They're trying to change the culture of the team to be a winning mentality. Probably has something to do with the coach as well. So they don't have that fight. They're just used to the getting stomped out and walked on. So they don't even fight for the team. Maybe that's the case. But hey, you're getting paid. You need to do your job. And if it's to put a fire under your players' butts or even a fire under your own butt and let the refs know something, show your team that you give a damn enough to even get ejected over this, hey, do it. If it's going to light a fire and give them that 3 points or 4 points that would have won the game.
Just get the calls right.
Yeah. But anyways, that's the WNBA. Come on, once again, talking about the WNBA, we never would have done it any other time, but when Caitlin's there, there's something to at least talk about, and we're not the only ones doing it. Some people who don't do it deliberately, they're just going to social media to show how disgruntled they are or how much they like the way things are going. So there's millions of people doing it at the same time. So,
and being in the Chicago area, I get Chicago news. Camila Cardoso should be coming back, so Sky might start making some noise.
All right, bet. And isn't Indiana going to play Angel Reese and Chicago?
I couldn't tell you. I told you I don't follow. I don't know.
All right.
I see stuff on social media.
Everybody round robins.
No, I see stuff on social media. That's how I find stuff out.
Well, have you heard the story? I mean, you probably missed it. Brian Batty, from the running back from Auburn who transferred from South Florida, got shot, is on a ventilator right now, and his brother got killed. So, there was a guy who shot him down in Sarasota. So there's 4 people got shot total. His brother was killed. He got hurt, and 3 other friends got hurt. 2 other friends got hurt.
That's crazy, man.
Craziness, man. This is
where were they?
Down in Sarasota here in Florida.
No, but I mean at a club, at a restaurant.
You know what? I didn't even read the entire story of how it even happened. It just, they were on the street, I guess, and something went down, and this is how it went down. I'm like, God, man. Always some nonsense, man. And football's coming back. There's been many camps as well that people haven't really talked about. OTA.
Ooh, I wanted to talk about Justin Fields.
All right.
He spoke to the media, and they asked him about the situation in Chicago. Is he frustrated? Does he harbor any ill feelings because now they have weapons for Justin Fields? I'm paraphrasing, giving an idea what the tone of the question was. And to his credit, he's like, that pass is a pass. I'm moving on. This is my team now, Coach T, blah, blah. So bravo, Justin Fields. You could have taken some shots. I don't know if it would have looked good. Maybe would have been justified, but I don't think that was the time nor the place. So kudos to you for doing the right thing.
Yeah, and I hate that the scrutiny is coming down on him, man. He seems like he's always been kind of a cool kid off the field, never having real problems that I know of, at least. And on the field, he just had problems with it. And it does seem like, hey, it sucks. It looks like that they got the team together. They put all these weapons out there after he had left. So it took away any option of him, opportunity of him even looking better than with those same kind of players. You promise a rookie everything and give him every shot to look good in his first year as the number 1 pick overall. But now you get over to Pittsburgh, and now they're just making it public that the Steelers have no intentions of keeping you long-term anyway. And they're saying all that kind of crap. And now he's coming back saying, you know what, I don't plan on sitting all year long either. I'm expecting to get out there. Right. And that's what you would expect from a competitor anyways. If he does his thing the way he should do his thing, he might be able to pull out in front, start showing something in camp to where he could become the incumbent if it ends up being that way.
Yeah, so good luck to him. I'm not a Justin Fields hater. I just didn't want him to be my quarterback anymore. So good luck to him.
Yeah, just get out, man. Just don't. Yeah, those.
Well, when you throw in the rookie contract, resetting the clock and all that, that I believe that's the real reason he's no longer in Chicago.
And that's true. That's true, man. And it's a business when it comes down to it. And he didn't give the results the Bears was looking for when they first had picked him up. It happens. It's just a cycle of all quarterbacks or all players for that matter, but quarterbacks in particular. He just happens to be the latest, and it was for the Bears. Now the Bears got their number 1 guy. He's supposed to be a generational talent. That's still to be decided. If something's going to happen, man, he has every right to do well this year. You can't help but look at and see what C.J. Stroud had done last season to just think about, okay, Caleb Williams may have that opportunity. C.J. Stroud wasn't looked at as one of those generational players, even though he was the 2nd pick overall. They were looking at him as a generational player, a good quarterback. You don't go number 2 if someone doesn't think you're pretty damn good. Now you have Caleb Williams, generational. He should be able to do something like that. So have you heard any stories about how he's grasping the playbook or these stories that people try to get ahead of one another in to give you an idea of what they look like so far?
Caleb?
Yeah.
I've seen clips of him and people are praising him, saying he looks good, and people are comparing him, saying only 2 quarterbacks in the league can make this throw. But there's an issue in the locker room not involving Caleb.
What's the deal?
DJ Moore came out in support for Donald Trump. And
come on, man. Why we going?
Word is Roma Dunze wasn't having it. And so now there's tension in the locker room.
Oh, come on, man.
At least in the wide receiver room.
Man, keep football in the locker room, man. All this political stuff coming in has no place. People get away from the politics and use the sports for that reason. And they bring it in the locker room. Bro, you think you got rid of Justin Fields? You think the reason why you're going to win is because you have a new quarterback, and now you got a cancer in the locker room with your rookie and your big pickup last year in the draft, in free agency or the trade.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Eberflus or Brian Poles. Get those guys together and look, squash that shit, or one of you's not going to be here much longer.
Nah, bro, I don't know about that, man. You need both those cats. I mean, you would like to see what the freaking rookie's going to do, but you do need DJ Moore. You know what he can do already. And for what they have, he's the best at the receiver spot right now to do it.
Yeah, but Caleb and Rome, they're like
young
this.
Dudes. Yeah, I heard about that part.
Rome ain't going nowhere. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day. For real, man. But come on, of all things, they come up with something like that. I thought it was going to be some girl stuff you was going to bring up.
I just wonder, who asked DJ Moore? What was the setting? Why is he talking about political stuff? Why is he bringing up Donald Trump? Or why did he just come out of the blue? You know what? I'm a Trumper. Whatever he said.
You know what? This day and age, I think if you look at YouTube or you just see these people who call themselves journalists, which I don't believe even exist anymore, they're going around asking these man on the street questions. And I think it kind of just leaked into now the sports world and locker rooms and dugouts. They're asking athletes and people that people already know. And most times people keep it to themselves because they don't want the backlash, especially with someone as visceral as Donald Trump. You don't expect an athlete to say it publicly, but there's been more athletes saying things publicly, whether one side or the other. And so it's nothing new. It's just that if that's going to be the point of dissension in your locker room, man, especially in this contentious election coming up in November, it's only going to get worse from here on out when you get to these conventions and then the debates and then all of these other protests, I guess. I mean, man, I'm not even going to get into it, but it shouldn't even go that way.
We already have people in Congress, talking about
eyelashes
and bad Bill Butch bodies, and come on, man.
Yeah, you know what?
I don't know what's going on in this country.
Everybody's wrong in everything in that regard. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene was the one who started it, but if so-called someone else is high class, you don't. When Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high, that was not the case there. She didn't just let it fly by. And you know what? Kind of rightfully so on the street, but inside Congress, you're not supposed to. But
well,
can you knock her for going back at her? Now AOC should have left out.
AOC unintelligent. That's fighting words there.
Yeah. Man, we gotta get off of here, man. We're gonna end up talking about what's going on in the freaking Washington for too damn long. Yeah, man, because too many opinions get a little strong after a while. There probably will be a time and place for that kind of thing anyway. But is there anything else to talk about going on? Baseball is still going on. Baseball is now picking up a little bit of steam. Things are kind of looking good for the Yankees, at least.
No, I just want to say fuck donkeys and elephants. There you go. If you're wondering where I stand with righteousness.
I stand with ideology. That's it, because ideology, that's DNA deep. That's it. That's not a political affiliation. That's not a party. It's just an ideology. And I'll leave on that. So I guess we're going to end this show on a Thursday, starting off with Ryan Garcia getting into the NBA, talking about these playoffs.
Man, I gave out 4 middle fingers today.
For real, right? It's like we had a crime scene going on. You had to do drive-bys on people, man. Too many people getting targeted on the streets for their stupidity. But Ryan Garcia, man, that's a disappointment. I wanted that thing to come back negative so that at least he could get his time and Devin Haney could accept the loss the way it was, because he didn't sign on for the 3 pound, but he didn't sign on for no juice. You know what I'm saying? So now that's changed this thing all the way around. And then going back to the Canelo camp again, man.
I wanted it to come back negative too, but when you think about it, what's the likelihood? If it all came from one big sample, just being a different sample of the same sample, then how is it going to be negative?
They do it for a lot of athletes, man. I don't think I can remember the time where the B sample came back negative after the first positive. I'm sure it might have happened when the tests weren't as strict as they may be right now, but not in recent memory I've heard that. And the guys I've named, Roy Jones failed a test. This isn't something that's speculative. At least with Evander Holyfield, you can talk about Balco and say Evan Fields, and this is the reason, the connection and all that other stuff. You can use that. But these guys who have failed tests, like Tyson Fury, like Canelo, now Ryan Garcia, and just going down a list of other guys. James Toney failed it twice. Come on, bro, get real. And he told us the reason why. It made sense, but still, you can't use it in boxing. You get older, you lose your testosterone. He got testosterone treatments. As a man, you feel a little weaker, you got to get up. And that's what he did. But, bro, it's illegal. There's no way around it. You got busted twice on it. So he's biased. I'm Trav, and the Sports Bad Bros podcast will be back at you after this weekend of whatever's about to damn happen. We'll have some more NBA news by Monday, so we'll be able to bring it to you. Monday's Memorial Day. Are we even going to be here on Monday to do this?
Oh, that's a good question, because I'm going to be out of town.
Man. It's going down on Memorial Day, man. We might have to just see next Thursday, yo.
Might have to do it. You don't want to do it Tuesday?
Tuesday? You know what? Let me see. Yeah, I think about what's going on Tuesday. Man, let's do it Tuesday. We'll see you on Tuesday. You know what I mean? We got to keep that Monday open, man. Things go down on Memorial Day. So,
enjoy the weekend. I'm on vacation until next Wednesday. So.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
What's going on here?
Well, I told you I'm going to Indy. I'm trying to see if my cousin can hook up fever tickets.
Fever tickets, yeah.
Tomorrow and Saturday. I'm leaving tonight right after this show.
Oh, bet. So, yo, he's the gone bias.
So, peace. I'm out.
Podcast will be back with you on Tuesday. Happy Memorial Day in between time. In the meantime, deuces.